Good morning. My name is Petra van Haren and I am the director of the European Schoolhead Association, ESHA. Until January the 1st this year, I have been president of the Dutch Schoolhead Association, AVS, and I'm very happy to be here today to talk to you about leadership and in particularly about picking up the challenge of adaptive school leadership. Now, what is ESHA? The European Schoolhead Association is a member organization and we cover up to 86,000 schoolheads throughout Europe. We are in over 20 countries and covered by about 50 organizations. And ESHA is mainly targeting that we learn, improve and help education by working together throughout Europe. The professional development of school heads is very important and we work on this in, for example, learning networks, and we do like reciprocal visits to each other, meaning that we meet each other both online and in the real world. And you can imagine that, for example, we do have in May our biannual conference on Cyprus, the 19th until the 21st of May. And there will come hundreds and hundreds of school heads from all over Europe to meet each other, to share knowledge, to share experiences, and to be together and develop their leadership. It's important to have learning networks because only when you work together you can also address the well-being and all the things that all the school heads experience are kind of the same. Because only by sharing our experiences in how we feel ourselves leaders in the school, we can be a very important role, the voice of the school head throughout Europe. ESHA wants to be your voice, wants to be the voice of the school heads. Well, and that is actually the main task, what we are carrying out. See how we can develop school leadership in Europe. Now, about the school leadership, we all know the challenges of our time. We all face the challenges of today. And one of the major challenges of this moment, for example, is the poverty. We deal with a lot of poverty. Sometimes it's very visible, but sometimes it's a kind of hidden poverty. And this is what's coming into your schools. But not only that, recently, but also over the past years, we had to do with a lot of immigration, taking up people in our countries, in our schools. And it means something. If you welcome refugees, if you welcome immigrants, there are a lot of chances and opportunities, but it's a challenge getting people into your school, children who do not speak your language, who do not know your culture, and it's up to us to pick up the challenge there. But there are also bigger challenges. We have to do with pollution, with the CO2. We have the climate change to address. And there are so much questions that are not only ours in our national context, but that can only be addressed in a European or a world context. We all know about the challenges, how we have to go in a development to a sustainable world. Our children, in all the Youth for Climate actions that they do, they ask from us to work on a better world. Because they are young, but we have the responsibility and the opportunity to give them place in this. It's a challenge of our time to help our children become the citizens to do this and to make sure that we already make the conditions happening. We have had a major challenge, the COVID pandemic, and it's not gone yet. It has been us for the past 2 years, and it has meant a lot of children learning at home, being taught at home, being actually in a very difficult situation because a lot of parents have lost their job. Parents have been working at home, but a lot of parents were in problems and depressions for themselves because if you lose your job, if you lose your income, your children at home because the school is not open, this is a major challenge that we have been facing, and still with a lot of quarantine measures, it's not over yet. Is that all? No, because when we come back in our schools, nothing is the same. Sometimes we work with masks, sometimes we do a kind of blended learning, children are still at home, and we have students who have their well-being tested in a terrible way because they feel lonely, because they could not connect with youth. We have students who went to university, and in the first year they have never actually attended university. They have not been a part of student life. And this is a major challenge, because e-learning can help us. But for a lot of children, e-learning means that you have to be very self-supporting, self-proactive, and that is not easy for a lot of our children. And what will this demand of our education? Are these all the challenges? No, there are a lot. But what is up to us? It's up to us to look what are the paradigm shifts that we are going to. Of course, the youth wants a better earth, but also we want to have healthier food, organic. We want to transition our cars to go on electricity. We want solar panels on our house. We are the ones who have to see what is the big paradigm shift happening on the earth. But also, beyond Earth, there is a huge paradigm shift going on, that we are exploring space, that satellites are flying over us, that because of this global approach, people from all over the world suddenly can be in touch with each other and feel very close. People coming together in huge networks, and especially this is an enormous paradigm shift because networks, they are very powerful. They can be very big, so you are an anonymous person. And maybe it's up to us to make this networking an important instrument to come closer to each other and not feel lost in the huge, huge world where this is happening. Paradigm shifts, of course, for education, because this learned lessons from COVID is something we should not lose. We have experienced a lot of things, and e-learning and blended learning have become important. But in the end, the normal traditional education is still there. We are going back in the schools, and children will still need support of their parents to develop and to feel well. So, is that all? No, because the everyday challenges that were already there are still here. The numeracy, the literacy, the geography, everything what we have been teaching so far still has to be done. The well-being, which has been under pressure, is still important. There is a lot in creativity we had to do with sports, health, digitalization, gamification, modern media, regardless all the challenges and paradigm shifts that we just saw. And then there is the part of our teachers and our schools. We suffer from workload and workload. We have an undervaluation of the profession of teachers, and especially profession of school heads all over Europe. We experience the same thing. And in a lot of places there are not enough people, not enough teachers, not enough head teachers, because they go in pension. The demographic development is such that there are a lot of people leaving education and few choose to be a part of education. Partly because of the labor conditions, but also because it's not easy to catch up with all the societal developments that are going on. We need professionalization, because catching up with this beautiful profession needs that we move. So where do we go from here? What can we do if we join together and talk about the options that we have for the future? I think it means we have to make a new start. And where do you start? The paradigm shift starts in all of us. And we have to look down for ourselves and see where is our starting point. And then make a choice in which direction we want to go, because it is up to us. A paradigm shift in this world, it's not so easy. I have here a model which is designed by Margriet Sitskoorn, a Dutch author. And she has said, we have a paradigm shift in the VUCA world. Now, what means this VUCA world? The changing world means that in all the disruption, we leave our law of Pavlov. You know, the stimulus response. This has been our world in education for a long time. But we are moving away from the SSR, stimulus response. We are moving from stimulus to multiple response. Because where once it was very easy, if you push this button, that will happen, in the new digital world, it is not longer so. Because of disruptive developments, everything develops so fast. The world has become volatility, the V of VUCA. Uncertainty. It's not clear where we are going. There is a complexity because everything what's coming up to us, from the geopolitics to the technical developments, there is ambiguity. Things do not mean the same as before, and for every question there are so many answers. So teaching what the answer is no longer what it has ever been. In this world, to take up your paradigm shift, that is an enormous challenge. Can we do this? Yes, we can. Especially because we have to, because we want to, and because we are professionals. And it's our responsibility to help our education getting evolved to a higher level, because our children are the future and we are responsible for this future. Now, we are in a comfortable position if you focus on leadership, because the school head is a linking pin in all the shifts that we have to go through. How I see this linking pin? You have the administrative community, being your municipality, your educational authority, maybe you work with the school board, or somebody is leader of the school heads. Then there is the school community, and the school head is like an operational employer who works in the team and helps them evolve the education and teach in the school as meant. There are the student, the parents, the educative partner. The school head is leading this school community. And then there is society, the environment, all the world around the kid. And somewhere in the center is the linking pin, the school heads, who binds the school with the authority and the world around the school. This makes, you can sometimes make this comparison, you are like a spider in the web, but this makes that you have an enormous, important position. How? How can you take up the responsibility of this? How you can realize that you are the linking pin and your leadership does matter? It could seem a very difficult question, but actually it's not. The own development of the school head is actually the key. You can try to change and transform your education, but if you really want to change education, the best way is to start with the development of the school head. Now, does this mean that school heads sit down and wait for some government or authority to get them developed? No, that's not how it works. There is a paradigm shift that you yourself are responsible of taking up your own development. And how do you do that? It's very simple to start, because in every day's work you are learning. We all know that informal learning is the most powerful way of learning. Experiencing something, making mistake, that is a way of deep learning. And educators are in the front line. So if you want to make yourself developing, you have to look in the mirror. Because every day's work is a setting for learning. And it starts by taking time to reflect on yourself. In the end of the day, sit down, think back, alone or with your colleagues, and see what happened with the experience of the day. Reflect, share your knowledge and experiences, and think about, what can I actually learn of what I have done today? What can I use to find for myself my learning points? What can I take from my everyday's work after my reflection in naming the learning moments in the process? Identify what you need to learn. And that is so easy, because everybody can sit down by the end of the day and think back of the day. What did I learn? When and how? And learning is not the same that everything has gone perfect. Learning is that probably you did make mistakes. Learning is that you see something new and you were surprised or curious about it. So learning is something you can do every day, and it's important. What went well? What should be better today? If you can answer that question by the end of the day and you reflect and you take time for it, take 10 minutes, go for a walk, jump on your bike, take time and reflect. What went well? What could be better? And then the final question, what do I want? What do I need to learn? because you are in charge of your learning and you have to know what you need. Organize your learning activities, because when you know what you need, it's up to you to organize. And if you need something that is not exactly in your school, open your windows, look around, and try to find what are you going to do to find your learn activity. Maybe you have to go on a course. Maybe it's enough to put a lot of colleagues, some school heads together and talk with each other, share your experiences and solutions. Maybe all you need to do is read a magazine every month, the professional magazine for the head teacher. It's up to you to define what you need. Some people like to read, some people like to act, some people like to go on a course. But identify it for yourself and know what you need. And then in the final step, monitor your developments or create your portfolio. Because learning is a process. And first, of course, it's important that you know what you have to learn. But after you have done your actions, it's very important that you prove for yourself, have you learned? Did you have everything you need? Are there other things that you need? And in this way, if you're in charge, you can really take up also in your own environment that's what you need. You monitor yourself. You create or show your portfolio. Now, why is it so important that as a school head, you actually go on in your process like this? Because it's not only about you, but if you show how you take up as a person, as a leader, the learning process, you are an example for your teachers. Because this is actually how learning works. You are a school head, you are example, leading, inspiring and supporting. And your teachers, they look at you. Realize that you are this role model and act upon it. You also know this famous model of the paradigm chasm, meaning that early adapters are important. Now, all of you who are here today, if you take up this challenge and you start to identify your own learning and you show what you're doing, maybe people around you will look a little bit strange. He has been to that day today. He has been in this wonderful course or this conference. He has come back or she has come back trying something new. That's how it can go. But if you realize that maybe you're just the early adapter, you are showing something new. And that's always happening with early adapters. People will look strange at you in the beginning. But then if you move on and you show that taking control of your own learning works, you will see that more people will take it over and that will be the early majority. And if they see it works, because if in your school you learn, your teachers start to learn, and it makes actually the quality of the education for the students better, they will see it works. And if you work with other head teachers together, you actually can make it happen that you get this model of innovation not only in your school, but in your city, your municipality, your region, and who knows, Czechia, your country. Now, you start as individual school heads. But if you can find the power to realize that maybe you are this stone which can make rings in the water, then 1 and 1 is not 2, but 1 and 1 can become 3, 4 and 5. You with your teachers, you with your colleague head teachers. And if you start to stand together in teamwork, you become a professional group together. Everything I say, actually, you know it already. But when I look around, when you look around, is this the behavior that you see? People taking up really in a structure their own development of learning. Reflect every day, what went well, what can be better, what do I need, what am I going to learn, and did it actually happen? Now, the power of starting. Never waste a crisis. This is a sentence we have had said a lot the past period after COVID, because digitalization has gone fast and we should not lose it. We are in a kind of crisis still, and now with all the immigrants moving through Europe, the crisis is even more. But pick it up, because every crisis is a learning process, regardless all the terrible things that happen. Don't waste it. Learning is done by experimenting, trial and error. It's okay to make mistakes. Holding on to what went good, but stop doing what did not work. And maybe stop doing what is not working is one of the most difficult things to do. Because we all know that we can look around and say, yeah, but my system and my municipality and my government. No, 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 no. Stop doing what doesn't work. You are a leader, you are a head teacher, and only continue by holding on to what went good. And if you sit with your teachers and you ask them to reflect with you on what are the goals of your education and what is going good in your school and what is not going good, take it up together and say, we are not going to do this anymore, what is not going good. Start doing what you think is right. You are a leader, you have a vision. Work together, be creative, or as the Dutch say, color outside of the lines. Because time and time again is proven that if you have a daring vision and you actually start to work out your vision, you will make the difference and have a jump from the past to the future. It's easy to say, yeah. Is it easy to do? Yeah. Actually, yeah. It is easy to do. All you have to do is start taking it up, and for most of it, power of working together. Don't do it alone. Gather your head teachers around you, learn together. Gather your teachers around you, learn in your school. Because we have so much of knowledge in our brains, and it's the role of the leader to activate all the knowledge that is in the teachers, that is in the colleagues. And if you stand together, you can bottom up bring what's needed in the education in your country. The colleagues and people around you, the local networks, national networks, and who knows, international networks. Because, and that is what ESHA is standing for, working together is helpful. You're a school head. School heads matter. This is the hashtag of ESHA. Your dream, your vision, your growth, it can become real. And it's not very difficult, because when you grow, your children will grow. And it's not rocket science. We are a learning organization. To lead learning, that is what head teaching is about. And if we take up the challenge of doing that right, your growth will make sure that your children in your school will grow. And then the future is nearer than we think. And it's not depending on wonderful visions in artificial intelligence or in XR solutions, but it is what children can see every day in the school. When they see you, when they see the teacher, then they can learn from us that learning is a process which goes on every day. Lifelong learning starts with us showing that it works this way. Now, it's up to you. School heads matter. Are you going to take up the challenge? Are you going back in your schools? Are you going to take every day 5 or 10 minutes to reflect? Are you going to ask yourself, what went well? What is better? What are my learning moments today? And are you able, after 2 or 3 weeks, to say to yourself, this is what I have to learn, this is what I need, and I'm going to make sure that this happens. What I need will come my way. This is the way of ESHA. We work together, we support each other, we learn together, and we try to improve the quality of leadership and education. I would want you to join us, but most of all, I would want you to take up your own challenge and be the head teacher that every child deserves. I wish you a very good day. If you want to find us, esha.org, and here is my email. And I want to thank Karel Merin, a wonderful Dutch student who has provided this movie for us today. I wish you once again a wonderful day. Goodbye.